to be educated, but I'm so frustrated.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Mindset channel. Hey, all you members, I love you guys and I appreciate you for hanging in there. And I'm inviting anybody else who wants to support the work to come on board, man. And we got that Cash App thing going on too. There's a lot of work put into this type of stuff and your appreciation will be appreciated by me. But anyway, tonight we're going to get into a group from back in the day, the late 70s and stuff like that. Some people call them like a one-hit wonder. I don't think so, man. McFadden and Whitehead, they put out a song called Ain't No Stoppin' Us Now. These boys were songwriters. They decided to get from behind the pen and get on the stage and do their thing. And we're going to be talking about them. Hey, they got a strange story. We're going to talk a little bit about the song and about their background and what happened to them and where they are today. So y'all hang around to the bottom. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah, y'all, I'll always remember that jam right there from my days as a shorty just going into high school. Man, that beat was popping straight disco, but that bass line, yeah, bruh, that was a kind of funk that was different. I mean, if you change just one note of that bass guitar pattern, you might as well put that whole song in the garbage can. Yeah, I know some of the community calls it an anthem, but keep it real, that bass and drums was what was making you love the song. That groove came from two homeboys out of Philadelphia who had already paid their dues behind the scenes. And Gene McFadden and John Whitehead were not some overnight artists who just walked into the studio hoping for a miracle. The duo even had a name that sounded like the title of a law firm, and some people might have thought success was already written into the name. But trust me, it wasn't that easy. A lot of people might not know their grind, because before the world ever knew their voices, they were already respected songwriters and producers inside the Philadelphia soul machine. Yet, before they became the songwriters and producers known as McFadden and Whitehead, they were first out there on the road chasing their dream as performers. As teenagers, they formed a vocal group called the Epsilons, and they were fortunate enough to be discovered and managed by soul legend Otis Redding. They toured as part of his world until his tragic passing in 1967. After that, they continued pushing forward, eventually recording a local hit called The Echo in 1970 with Stax Records, before making a major transition. That group rebranded to another group called Talk of the Town, and it was then they crossed paths with Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, and they eventually began recognizing another side of their talent, not just as singers, but as gifted writers and creators who could help shape the sound of other artists. So yeah, man, these two cats were part of that legendary Philadelphia International Records sound with Gamble and Huff now, and guess what? Their very first professional songwriting placement was the track by the Intruders called I'll Always Love My Mama. You ain't real old school soul unless you can say you know that song. But yes, sir, they were helping create records for other artists, writing songs, and learning how to build that smooth, powerful Philly soul sound from the inside. But eventually, Gene McFadden and John Whitehead wanted their own shot. They had spent years helping other artists get their moments, and now they wanted to step into the spotlight themselves. They expressed their frustration with Philadelphia International owners Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, but for many years the pair were encouraged to remain as house songwriters and not performers. But these hit songwriters would keep pushing until they got the right opportunity. And the story of that opportunity leads us to 1979 and a song that sounded like a celebration before the world even knew it needed one. Ain't no stopping us now. Listen to that. Before the vocals even come in, the record is already hollering at you, telling you it's about to be on. So put on your dancing shoes. These boys just told you all you needed to know about handling the funk on the dance floor. But you know what? This song almost got handed over to somebody else. Gamble has confirmed that upon first hearing Ain't No Stoppin' Us Now, he tried unsuccessfully to convince McFadden and Whitehead to give the song to the OJs. He believed it was better for McFadden and Whitehead to keep writing for the big boys than to try to compete with them on the stage. Gamble and Huff are geniuses, but in this case, y'all, I'm glad they backed off and shut up. Now, Gamble and Huff weren't just buttholes with opinions. Just in case you didn't know, McFadden and Whitehead wrote Backstabbers for the OJs, so you could see what Gamble and Huff were thinking. Yeah, the OJs would have torn Ain't No Stoppin' Us up, But they had so many hits in their catalog that it wouldn't have stood out and become what McFadden and Whitehead made it into, being new on the scene. So, the song was written by Gene McFadden, John Whitehead, and Jerry Cohen. Cohen was also part of the integrated production team. This here hit record was recorded at Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia, the legendary studio that helped define the whole Philly sound. Released as the lead single from their debut album, McFadden and Whitehead, in 1979, Ain't No Stoppin' Us Now quickly became a major success. The song spent 1 week at #1 on the R&B singles chart, but it didn't stop there. It crossed over into the mainstream, reaching number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100. The record also climbed to number 10 on the disco chart and found international success, reaching number 5 in the United Kingdom. By the time the dust settled, the song had sold over 2 million copies and was certified double platinum, proving that McFadden and Whitehead had created much more than just a hit record. They had created an anthem representing a mindset that some people were begging for a reason to have. But I must tell you, this success almost never got the chance to begin. According to Casey Kasem's American Top 40 broadcast in 1979, while McFadden and Whitehead were in Chicago promoting Ain't No Stoppin' Us Now, they stayed for one more interview and changed their flight to Los Angeles. Now, the flight they were originally scheduled to take was American Airlines Flight 191, which crashed shortly after takeoff from Chicago O'Hare Airport on May 25, 1979, killing everyone aboard. Man, that one decision changed their lives forever, because the song they were promoting would soon become the biggest moment of their career. Y'all, this song hit so hard that, in 1995, even Luther Vandross released his version of the song, which also charted in a few places around the world. So, my people, I haven't popped the hood to a song in a while, therefore, let's crack this disco funk track open and see what really makes this thing ride out. The bass guitar is one of the biggest reasons this song has lasted. Yeah, bruh, that right there. The dude rubbing out the bass parts was James Jimmy Williams. That bass line is not just sitting underneath the song, it is pushing the song forward like a Mack truck. It gives the record movement, confidence, and that feeling that something is coming. And then he takes it to the bridge. Nah, man, all you little bass players need to know, you can't just frick up the bass line. Leave it alone if your skills ain't right. And by the way, this bass playing may sound familiar too, because Jimmy Williams is the same cat that gave you Teddy Pendergrass's Love TKO and held it down for the OJs for 40 years. Same funky fingers. That boom pad right there is a real funky four-to-the-floor groove, and even the tuning of the drums is perfect for this song. The drum parts were played by Keith Benson and straight locked in with that bass. This is where the record gets that head-nodding feel. The drums are not trying to overpower the groove. They're laying comfortably in the pocket, holding the foundation together. That's the kind of simple rhythm that won't let you sit down to it. The guitars on the record were handled by Bobby Eli and Dennis Harris, and the keyboards were played by Jerry Cohen. All that rhythm work gives the song that extra layer of funkiness, and it has that clavinet sound working in there too. That bridge is clean, tight, and perfectly placed inside the arrangement. These boys just knew how to create that polished Philadelphia international sound, giving the song its rich atmosphere while keeping the groove moving. The string and horn sections were performed by Don Ronaldo and his crew of people, adding another layer of energy to the track. Those lines are iconic, and you can hear the same idea in a lot of Gamble and Huff tunes. I mean, that same string groove idea can be heard in a lot of Teddy Pendergrass's love ballads. Actually, Rinaldi's string and horn section was featured on almost every track which came out of the Sigma Sound studio back in the day, period.
There's been so many things that's held us down, but now it looks like things are finally coming around.
Then you have the vocals sung by Gene and John, and the hook is simple, but that is exactly why it works. The message was bigger than just a dance record.
But we won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting our show together. We're polishing up our act.
It was about overcoming obstacles, pushing forward, and refusing to stay down. Fellas, take us to the bridge.
Don't you let nothing stand in your way.
The background vocals help give the song that huge community feeling.
To every word I say, ain't no stopping us now. No, we're on the...
The main vocalists credited included McFadden and Whitehead, Barbara Ingram, Carla Benson, and Yvette Benton. When the record was released in 1979, people felt it right off the jump. It became one of the biggest songs connected to the Philadelphia soul era. It also became a major disco era hit, but the reason this song survived was not just the numbers. It became bigger than a chart record. It became something people played when they were celebrating, when they were fighting through hard times, when they needed motivation. That is why you hear it at sporting events, community events, and moments where people want to feel like they are moving forward. Now, after a song like this, the question becomes, could McFadden and Whitehead ever match the impact? But the answer is complicated. They continued making music and remained respected figures in the R&B and soul community, but unfortunately, nothing they recorded reached the same worldwide impact as Ain't No Stoppin' Us Now. Some people even wanted to see them as kind of a one-hit wonder, but I'll take the one instead of none. Their greatest legacy was not just being performers, it was the fact that they helped create some of the sounds that defined an era. So these fellas sang it out loud, ain't no stopping us now. But the bad thing about life is that it ain't trying to hear about you going on forever. It always claps back with something to stop it all. Yeah, man, unfortunately, Gene McFadden passed away in 2006 after battling complications from liver and lung cancer at the age of 56. And even more sad was that John Whitehead was tragically killed in an unsolved shooting earlier in 2004 at the age of 55. Their time together was shorter than most people know, or definitely shorter than many fans would have wanted. But the song they created continues to live to this day. Because every generation has moments where they need to hear the same message. Keep moving, keep pushing, don't let anything stop you. And that is why decades later, when that bass line drops and those drums kick in, people still know exactly what time it is. Ain't no stopping us now.
Yeah, guys, it's just that simple when it comes down to McFadden and Whitehead, man. Little kind of obscure group and stuff like that. But I do want you to know they wrote more than just a couple of songs. They wrote a whole lot of songs. Stuff like Wake Up Everybody by Teddy Pendergrass and Bad Luck by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes and stuff like that. And a whole lot more. I'm not going to name them all, but you can look them up and you can find out that these guys were really appreciated when it came down to songwriting. But the sad thing is that a lot of people never knew what really happened to them. They kind of disappeared. And now we know what really happened to them. They passed on and stuff like that. But they created a song that will never die. As long as music is around, people going to get up and jam to Ain't No Stopping Us Now. And that's the kind of stuff we do on this channel. Give a little homage to the great ones, you know what I mean? I really hope you guys appreciate that. And check back on the Music Mindset channel. I'm Mr. Mindset. And you know how we do. I'll see you next time.